Hi, John.
Hello, Dennis.
Welcome to the barbershop.
Nice to be here.
Can I pour you a drink?
That would be lovely.
That would be awesome.
That would be very nice.
So, John, we're going to get a haircut today and a
Beautiful.
little shot of whiskey there.
A salute.
Salute. There we go.
That's it, Chendan.
So, John, tell me, you're from New York, right?
Rochester area.
Rochester. So, tell me a little about your family history, because you have a great family history.
Yeah.
There. Very interesting one.
How far you want me to go back?
As far as we got. As
All
far
right.
as you want.
All right. Well, my grandparents were, on my mother's side, the Castronovas. On my father's side was the Saporito. And they came to this country in the early 1900s through Ellis Island.
Nice.
Legal immigrants.
Legal.
Learned how to, well, I say learned how to speak English, but you know what I mean. It was very broken English. And when he came, my grandfather Giovanni Castronovo, to Ellis Island, they misspelled his name and put an A at the end instead of an O. So it was really Castronovo, but they made it Castronova. And didn't speak any English at that time. So they came to this country not knowing any English, but came in legally. And you know what's going on in the world today with all the illegal aliens coming in through the open borders.
Yes. It's a big topic today.
It's ridiculous. And you know, my ancestors, same with the Saporito side, came to this country without speaking English and made a life for themselves in America. They wanted to be known as Americans.
Yes.
Italian Americans. That was their desire. So they worked very hard. My grandfather, Giovanni Castronovo, came in to Ellis Island and then went to, of all places, Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. And there he worked in the coal mines. Didn't speak a word of English.
Wow.
Then he, you know, slowly picked up a little bit of English, broken English, and moved to Rochester. Now, my grandfather and grandmother had, let's see, 8 children. 6 girls and 2 boys. My mother was Domenica, and although, don't ask me how, but she became Emma. So everybody knew my mother as Emma, and my grandfather called her Mima. And so when he came to Rochester, he was a very determined man, and he wanted to make a living for him and his children.
What did he do?
So what he did, I gotta take a little sip. He was an entrepreneur.
Nice.
He had a house, right? He had built a house with as many apartments so that his children had a place to live when they got married. You know, the old school Italians back in Italy, the families lived, you know, they had the Campagna. They had level 1, level 2, level 3, they lived together. So that kind of carried over for a while when he came to this country, and as his daughters got married, they stayed in the house on Goodman Street. And the house was on Goodman Street. Big house, big house. So he had a little storefront. And what did he do?
Is this a private event?
What did he do? He started a little store for the neighbors, for the Italians. It was a very big Italian neighborhood.
Like a market?
Yeah, like a little market. You know, he sold candy, he sold meats, you know, vegetables.
Nice.
And
little prosciutto,
homemade wine, mozzarella, and he catered to the neighbors, the neighborhood, the Italian neighbors. They were all from Italy. The majority of the neighborhood was mostly Italians. There was another part of the city, this was in the city of Rochester, that was a very big Polish nationality,
Yes.
bordering the Italian neighborhood. And he had many friends that were from Poland, and he actually ended up speaking a little Polish to be able to communicate with them. So he started the little store. Then he decided to start serving meals. So all his, remember, he had 6 girls, right? So the girls worked as waitresses, and they served dinners.
Nice.
And my grandmother would cook the dinners, and they would serve the patrons, right? And topper beer. I still have the topper beer tray that my mother used to serve the beer on,
That's
right?
awesome.
So he started that, and then the Depression hit, and he was very proud, man. He would not take any government assistance, absolutely not. So things were hard. And though he had his little store going and he had his little restaurant going in the house, I mean, this wasn't a fancy restaurant. They served the people ate in the dining room of my grandparents' apartment, right? Or they took it home. So he was a survivor and would never take a government handout ever. He was too proud. And they always spoke Italian. You know, my mother, my parents, my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, but they would never teach us Italian. And we used to say, "Ma, why don't you teach us Italian?" And they would say, "Because you're American. You speak English." Now look at today. I mean, you have to have signs in 3 different languages because nobody wants to learn English.
Right.
And I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they would never teach us Italian. To this day, I wish they did. So I have my own version of Italian. I know a few words, but I go to Italy and I fake it.
So is that why the Italian Americans, when they speak Italian, they put the slang on the food?
Right.
The schmutz, the prosciutto.
Prosciutto.
Yeah.
A mozzarella.
Yeah. They all of a sudden start slanging.
Yeah. The ricotta.
Yeah.
You know, that's
The
another
prosciutto.
thing. The prosciutto. So that's kind of a little bit of the history there. And
Let me just ask you one question.
Yeah.
Is it gravy or is it sauce?
oh, maron, that's it. I don't ever want to hear gravy.
It's not-
Gravy is
no
for
gravy.
turkey.
For turkey, yes.
You know, this gravy, I see this all the time. Gravy. Nowhere in my ever life or my grand ever called it gravy.
Okay.
It was sauce. On Sunday, we had sauce.
Where did that derive from? Brooklyn? Gravy? Did it
I
come
don't
from
know.
Brooklyn?
I think New Jersey. I don't know where, but they got it wrong.
Maybe one of our viewers could help us out with
Yeah, I wish they would because gravy. On Facebook, I've seen it, and I would post.
Yes.
Gravy is for turkey. Sauce is what we have on
It's for
Sundays.
pasta.
It's for pasta.
Okay.
So that's an interesting thing.
All right. That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother talk. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
And so, we were talking about. I mean, my last I did with interview in Del Rey on the Strip. We talked about being an Italian nationality.
Yeah,
being
the
an
work
Italian.
ethic then and now, how the work ethic was.
The work ethic
how
was
we treated people, family get-togethers.
family get-togethers.
You guys used to get together on Sundays
Every
and have
Sunday.
a big meal,
Every
and
Sunday.
everybody would be together.
Everybody. All the aunts, the uncles, my cousins, which there was probably 30 or 40 of us.
Yes.
The whole family would be together.
Big pots of food.
Big, just around the table. And I'll never forget it. My grandfather, Giovanni, I was named after him. He would say, Giovanni, call me Giovanni. And he would give me a little, at the dinner table, all the kids, we would get a little wine with peaches.
Nice.
And, we were little kids.
That was your sangria.
It was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And there's just so many memories and stories that my mother would say when she was growing up.
Right.
Where she would, her father would ask her to go get the wine. He said,
Yeah.
Nima, go to the barrels, go get the wine and give her a pitcher.
The homemade wine.
And she would go, And she would tell the story. Oh, it was so cold. I would sit there and he'd sit, drink it. I'd siphon it out and I'd drink some. And I'd come back with the pitcher and he would say, Mima, what took you so long? And she would say, Pa, I had to siphon the wine. It took me a while to get the wine to come out and put it when she was drinking the wine. And she would tell hilarious. That story. It was so funny. And she would also tell the story at Easter, right? She would, terrible, but they would slaughter their own lamb for Easter.
Yes.
And my grandfather would get the lamb, and he would have my mother, he would slit the throat, and he'd had my mother hold the pan, and she was horrified. She used to say, oh, I used to hate that. You know, your grandfather used to make me hold the pan as the blood and the lamb's going, meh, meh. Terrible. So, you know, these stories are incredible. And there's plenty of them, lots of them. It's very, very funny stories that my mother has passed down over the generations. But it was great. It was great growing up.
These stories built family values. These stories brought the family together. Brought
us together in a work ethic. I mean, you know, that instilled a work ethic into all of us. My siblings, my cousins were all, my daughter, thank God, my children, right? We instilled in them that work ethic. And my daughter especially is so dedicated to her work.
That's awesome.
And my son. So we're very happy with how, you know, our...
Did they pick up a skill, a trade, or...
No, my daughter went to law, is in law, and she is a trust officer at JP Morgan.
Okay.
My son is in my company that I started out of college.
Nice.
Speaking of that, touching on college, not many Italians in my generation went to college.
Yeah,
and even skilled workers. Yes. They were plumbers, electricians, masons, barbers, absolutely.
Right. They came to America with a skill.
That's right. And you know how hard it was when the Italians came to this country? The stories we heard, Kodak was a big employer in Rochester, 80,000 people. They would not hire Italians. They were flat out refused to hire Italians. Many of my relatives could not get a job at Kodak because they flat out were Italian.
Wow.
And that was, talk about discrimination. Maybe people don't realize the discrimination that existed with Italians, and not just Italians, many of the other nationalities, right? That came, the Irish, the Polish.
Yeah.
But the Italians, I think, had it pretty tough. And that was one of the reasons they became entrepreneurs and skilled tradesmen. Right? They said, okay, the heck with you, we're going to do our own thing. And many of all my uncles, my two uncles on my Casanova side were entrepreneurs. They had their own businesses, very successful businesses. And on the Saporito side, many of them became educators. They were some of the first ones to ever go to college. As a matter of fact, my father, Mike Saporito, went to work at a very young age so his brother Joe could go to college. He was the first person to go to college.
Wow.
And this is we're talking the 40s, right?
Yeah.
So he became a school teacher.
Nice.
And my father sacrificed his future for his brother so that he could go to college. So the Italian family is just so, we're very close to, as you know.
Yeah.
We're the Italian family, and we welcome
That's
everyone.
Right. So
we don't care who you are, we welcome you. So a little bit about me. I graduated mechanical engineer from Rochester Institute of Technology. I'm only 3 of us in my family of 5 that were fortunate enough to go to college.
Wow.
Myself, my younger brother, and my oldest brother, Mike, who became a teacher. So 3 out of 5 of us were fortunate enough because our parents wanted us to get an education. So I went to Rochester Institute of Technology, got my degree in mechanical engineering, and started my company in 1984 out of college. So we're industrial automation. We do pressure sensors, level sensors, industrial PCs, remote I/O, wireless communication, very high-tech products.
Nice.
And we service all of North America. So I started that in 1984, and my son works in the company with me. He got his degree in engineering as well as business management. So hopefully someday he could take over the company. Cool. And awesome. I could, go
retire.
to Italy and relax.
Yes.
To Sicily.
That's awesome.
So that's, that's a little bit about, so anyway, back to my concern with what's going on. Yeah, and
I'm referring more to family.
Oh, family.
Yeah, because
okay.
I think we're spreading apart because we have so much attention. Our attention is going in so many different directions now. It's hard to get attention, especially my kids. It's hard to receive their attention. They have so many things coming at them at once, more than any other generation has had in the past.
Yes, I think the main issue, in my opinion, is social media.
Yeah.
Back in our day, my day, we didn't have Facebook.
Yeah, right.
We didn't even have cell phones.
Me, myself included.
Right. So, you know how we communicated? Telephone.
That's right.
Or face-to-face.
Face-to-face, yes.
Nowadays, these kids, and I see it much in this younger generation, my children and that age group, in their 20s and early 30s, there's no communication.
That's right.
They don't know how to talk on the phone. They don't know how to communicate verbally. It's all through text, Facebook, chatting.
Yes.
It's not good. And
I
concern.
think one good thing that we have taken from our family values is we could now pass it on to our new generation.
Hopefully.
Because we experienced it. At least what we could do is pass it on.
That's all we can do.
It was instilled in us.
Right.
So I think it's our duty to now try to instill it into the new generation and see if they can continue it.
Absolutely.
So leaving on a positive note, I want to ask you, what would be one thing we could do to try to bring a family together? What would you think?
Here's what I think.
In your opinion.
In my opinion, the most valuable thing that I can say growing up was those family dinners.
Yes.
On Sunday.
At least one, right?
Yes. And that is what I continue to try to do in my family. That on Sundays, I want my children and my grandchildren to be together.
To be present.
To be present. No phones. I tell them no phones. Put the phones away.
That's right.
And we're here to talk about what's going on in our lives. What's the challenges? What's the successes?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, family bonding, family dinners. It sounds simple, right?
Right.
But how many people sit down and have a family dinner now?
Right.
It's very seldom.
Right.
So, I think that would make a huge difference.
Nice.
So that's my opinion.
All right, John. Thanks for coming for the haircut.
My pleasure.
Salute.
Salute.
There we go.
Anybody
On
wants
to
to
the
talk
next
to me,
haircut.
let me know. I'm always happy to share my opinion. And
That's awesome.
President Trump, I'm at your service. Whenever you need me, call me. And Fox Business, I love you. I watch you all day long.
Come back for another cut, John, and we'll have another talk.
Sounds good.
We need a part 2 to this.
We do. Salute.
Salute.